Lamouche. She is going to be presenting her third speech in Pathways Level 1 in Dynamic Leadership. Her project aims to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. It's no coincidence that Sandra spends her time studying how Indigenous dance can create spiritual, physical, emotional, and mental well-being, because she has effortlessly danced her way into our hearts. Here to regale us with her speech entitled Tail versus Tail is Sandra Lamouche. Tail versus Tail, Sandra Lamouche.
Hello and welcome, Toastmasters. I purposely did not give a lot of details on this presentation because my topic is a little bit random, which actually fits very well with the word of the day. So I'm excited to share my research with you called Tail versus Tail. I will start by asking you all to take a moment and reflect on the following question. How Canadian is the beaver? On a scale of 1 to 10, I think most people would probably say that the beaver is about an 11 in terms of representing Canadian identity. The beaver predates Canada, obviously, and is found in many Indigenous cultures. My father is a Cree storyteller and has shared traditional stories about animals, plants, and values with family, community, and schools. And so my research was inspired by a recent story he shared called How the Beaver Got a Flat Tail. When I started to research, I found that a similar story is also found in Ojibwe and Mi'kmaq culture. And in local Blackfoot traditions, there are ceremonies that are dedicated to the industrious work of the beaver and their environmental knowledge. In Haida culture, you'll see totem poles, masks, and symbols of the beaver that represent how hardworking the beaver is. So after hearing this story, my question was, did beavers always have flat tails? And what I discovered was the ancestor of the current beaver in Canada, which is called a giant beaver. This beaver is the largest rodent that had ever lived. And one of the characteristics is that it had a round and narrow tail, not a flat tail like our current Canadian beaver. They also ate aquatic plants and did not build dams or use their teeth to cut down trees. The giant beaver is said to be the size of an actual average human being, which is represented here by another famous Canadian, Justin Bieber. It is said that the giant beaver had incisors the size of bananas. Can you imagine? The giant beaver lived around 3 million years ago, according to the oldest dated fossils. And many of the fossils are actually found in Alaska, Ohio, Florida, and some in the Yukon. So our beloved Canadian beaver actually has ancestors that really did not live in Canada, because Canada at that time was covered by during the last ice age. The last giant beavers were said to go extinct during the last ice age. And this was because they relied on the aquatic plants and they weren't able to build dams and to ensure that they had that food and those aquatic plants to eat. So in conclusion, my research found that Indigenous stories do have actual knowledge. And like my title said, they're not just tall tales, and they actually do contain facts and history. So along with that, I had much more questions, such as, is the beaver really that Canadian? And how old are Indigenous stories and Indigenous cultures? And how long did Indigenous people live in North America? So in conclusion, I would like to invite you Toastmasters to always wonder, always question, and always be open to learning new things. Thank you, Madame Toastmaster.
Thank you, Sandra. You're busy as a beaver.